Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining me live today. My name is Andrea, and I'm the marketing director here at OctoClean Media. In this live, I'm taking a departure from marketing, and we're going to be discussing price objections. As always, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer as we go, but I'll make sure to answer everything toward the end. I want to start with a quick scenario. So let's say you've walked a facility, you've built out a solid proposal, and the prospect sends an email back that says, that's too expensive. If you've ever been in this position, you know just how defeating that moment can feel. And I think the temptation is often to lower your price just to keep the deal alive. But the truth is that lowering your price often does more harm than good. So today, I'm going to share one proven strategy that will help you respond with confidence without discounting your services. And if you stick with me until the end, I'll also share how you can access a full course on overcoming price objections inside our private OctoClean Media community. So let's first start with why lowering your price and discounting your services isn't a good idea. When you drop your price too quickly, you're basically telling the prospect, I wasn't confident in my numbers to begin with, and that can damage your credibility. The second is it trains the buyer to always ask for more. We know those customers who ask and ask for more services for the same price. If they know that you'll cave, they'll push even harder next time. So you want to avoid this from happening to begin with. And third, it sets you up for thin margins that are tough to sustain long term, right? I've seen businesses win contracts this way only to regret it later when the account becomes a money drain. So I'm curious, has anyone here experienced this? Share your experience in the chat and what happened as a result of discounting your services. So, the strategy I want to focus on with you is adjusting your offering. The real mindset shift is this: you don't lower your price, instead, you adjust the scope. So, here's how it sounds. So, let's say, for example, that the prospect says you're too expensive. Well, next, you would say, we can absolutely look at adjusting the services to fit your budget, but if you'd like everything we outlined, this is the investment. Do you see the difference? You're still flexible, but you're not discounting your worth. You're simply offering a smaller package for a smaller budget. That's professional, it's sustainable, and that keeps your margins intact. This also sets clear expectations so there's no resentment later on when you're doing more work than you're being paid for. Once you start breaking down scope, you're not only helping the client prioritize their budget, you're also creating an opening to explain why you priced your services the way that you did. And that's where the real value conversation happens. And if you want to go deeper into how to confidently communicate value, we cover that in detail inside the Overcoming Price Objections course in our community. So I want to make this interactive. I want you to tell me in the chat, what's the most common objection you hear from your prospects? And I can read a few and then we can break them down together. I want to say also, remember that most objections aren't really about price. They're about perceived value, timing, or even fear of change. So when you treat objections as buying signals instead of rejection, you'll respond much more effectively. So let's go ahead and look at some of the price objections you've received, and we can go through those together. So put those through the chat. I've prepared a couple too that we tend to get as well that I could break down while I'm waiting for some comments to come in. I think oftentimes you'll hear that the price is too expensive, but another way that it could be worded too is, can you do it for less? Can you do it for this amount? Can you match the price that we were previously paying. And I think another way of responding is if we reduce the scope, we can adjust the price. Let's explore what services are most important to you. So again, discussing what services are most important so you know what the need to haves are, and then you can discuss what services could maybe be removed from the scope of work. Another response to "you're too expensive" could be, "What do you mean by that?" Just pulling out more information. I think that's a big sales tactic that I've learned from Matt is you wanna keep asking questions, you wanna ask open-ended questions because really that's your job as a salesperson is to pull information from the prospect, right? Even when you're at the beginning stages of prospecting, you're going out not to sell your services, but to collect information, right? You're trying to figure out who handles the cleaning at the facility, who's the decision maker there. You're trying to get their contact information. You're learning who is potentially who's providing services and whether they're happy with the services, right? You're collecting information. That way you can come up with a good pitch or a good offering or a way of setting up your services that makes sense and answers and responds to the pain points that they have. All right, so we have some comments. So Wayne said, I never had an issue with objection, but I did discount some services. I do keep my clients, but it took longer to raise them to regular prices. I don't know if that is a loss. So yeah, so this is exactly what we were meaning by discounting your services, and then now you're realizing that okay, I'm not making enough off of this account. So then it takes a second, as Wayne is describing, to get them to regular prices. So really addressing these objections or addressing these issues at the beginning, making sure that you're pricing right and you're not discounting services will avoid the need to go back and adjust the prices and having that conversation with your customer, which can be kind of awkward, when you have to tell them, hey, I underbid this, or this is the scenario. We're not making what we need to make in order to give you the service that you need. So this is the price moving forward. It can be uncomfortable to do that. So, so yeah, making sure to address it and bid accurately at the beginning is important. But we live and we learn. We've made that mistake before too. We've priced things too low and had to go back. And the best way to address it is to just be honest and break down the numbers when you explain how much it's costing you to provide the service and really break down what goes into providing quality. I think that it's it's easy for customers to understand where you're coming from and understand why the adjustment is necessary. So here's another objection. It's not really a price objection, but it's something that you may encounter during prospecting, and that's that the prospect is happy with who they have currently. A response that you could offer could be something like, "That's great. What would you say you value most about them? And is there anything you wish they did better?" So again, you're opening up the conversation to discuss more about the service that they already have, to learn more about what's going well, what isn't, right? The more information you have, the better you can present your offering to them, and keep the door open for future partnerships. All right, so if you have any other objections, go ahead and put them through the chat. I'm going to continue on, but we can address any of those objections you've received. So here are 3 quick tips that you can start using right away. First is to always measure and document the building. When you know your numbers are solid, you'll never feel shaky defending your price. So if you've been watching our videos, you know that we really stand by this in the walkthrough process. We're very detailed. We count all fixtures, we record all floor types, and we get the square footage. And while the square footage might not be directly in our bidding formula that you can find in our How to Bid video, as well as in our Mighty community as well, but it will help you later on when you're offering carpet cleaning or floor care services. You won't have to go back in and measure again. And measurements also can help you with creating the foundation for your bid as well. The second tip is to practice confident phrases. You want to eliminate "I'm sorry" from your sales language and instead replace it with clarity and confidence. Third is to sell outcomes, not line items. So you don't want to let your prospects compare you to a cheaper competitor based on small details. Instead, talk about results, consistency, and reliability. Those are the things that matter, and those are the things that are going to help you close the deal. So, what I share today is just one piece of the bigger picture. Inside of our course, Overcoming Price Objections, we walk through a full framework for handling objections, from qualifying before you quote to asking the right follow up questions to practicing real role play scenarios with Matt. So, you'll also get access to downloadable tools like the Price Integrity Do's and Don'ts checklist, as well, the top 8 objection responses practice guide, and the qualification call checklist, which will help you to qualify prospects before you even go through the trouble of creating your bid and proposal and presenting that to the customer. If you're serious about improving your sales conversations, this course will give you the tools and confidence to close more deals without discounting your worth. It's available exclusively inside our OctoClean Media community, which I want to highlight is different from our YouTube membership. This is available on our website, octocleanmedia.com. There's also a description or a link in the description to this video that will direct you to that page. It is $29.99 per month, or you can save with our annual plan. It's $298 for the year. And you get this course along with 3 others. You get downloads, templates, guides, lots of information, lots of video recordings from past group coaching sessions, which we host weekly, on topics that we are proficient in. So I handle marketing, Greg handles operations, and Matt handles sales and business growth. So there's a lot to learn from and to get in our private community. So go ahead and check it out for yourself. Now I want to open things up to questions. If you have any questions, please put them through the chat. This could be related to this topic, but also marketing related questions as well. Go ahead and put those through the chat. And then as I wait for questions, I want to highlight too that in this private community that we have, we launch 2 new products every month. And so I can give you a little preview as to what's coming next month. Next month, we are going to be launching our OctoClean cleaning time standards. So this gives you it'll aid in your production rates, right? So we break down how much time it should take you to perform cleaning tasks. And then also it's based around our cleaning system, which we offer training cards for in the membership as well, and break down with video demonstrations. So it can help you to bid more accurately because you'll understand what your production rates should look like. So that's one of the items that we'll be launching there on the 8th of October. So Wayne says he has a lot of questions on billing. Will you ever make a video on that? Yes, that's a big topic. We hope to put a podcast out on that, but I also am working on a course on billing and collecting payments from customers. So that'll be available in our community soon. Definitely something that we want to make for you guys. What are your billing questions specifically? Because then we can tailor the content to you. So go ahead and drop your billing questions in there, Wayne. And Matt joined. Hi, Matt. If you have questions for Matt, he's here now too. So, what are your thoughts on if I ask what the budget is? I think that that is a good strategy. I think it puts you at an equal playing field because then you know what you're working with. Um, and I think Matt would agree that asking what the budget is once they've expressed that what you've proposed is too high is not a bad strategy. So go ahead and ask. But then again, once you learn what the budget is, don't discount your services. Instead, adjust the scope if you can, or try to express the value of your services so that you're communicating what they'd be getting if they're investing in the price that you're presenting. All right, so Wayne wants to know more about missed payments, billing goals, and how should they look? Is there a way for making billing easier for tax season and more organized? Okay, these are all great topics. I'm going to go ahead and save these so we can get some videos out for you guys. This is a question for Tracy, our controller. She's really awesome and she handles all of this for OctoClean. So I will go ahead and make sure that I collaborate with her on getting these questions answered. Something that's also new to the Mighty community that we'll be launching soon is that you'll actually be able to book private time with Matt, Greg, myself, and Tracy. So, Wayne, if this was something that you wanted to discuss with her in detail, you could actually book time with her and go over everything, go over the systems that you already have in place. And then she could review that with you, give you some best practices, and help you out there. So we have 30-minute sessions and then hour-long blocks as well available. Um, so you can book a 30-minute session for 100 or an hour-long session for 200. All right, any other questions? Okay. Okay, so I have another question. Thoughts on recurring first month payments due at time of signing contract? Yes, so I believe that's how we handle our billing as well, is it's a recurring payment set at the beginning of services. Um, yeah, so I that's how we handle billing and that's how we recommend handling it. So you're on the right track. Okay, so Matt says we're on a 30-day net though. So we're not collecting payment at the start of service, right? It's we collect 30 days after the start date, right? We don't ask for money up front. I think I think especially when you're working with the type of clientele that we are, like large medical facilities, large schools, I think it's really hard to expect them to pay up front before you begun services. I think typically you're going to be collecting after services are performed. So asks, I also had a question on pricing. Is it okay to undercut a competitor or do I match them? So I think this is where you get into that tough game, right, of discounting your services. You don't wanna charge less than your competitor just to undercut them or match them. You wanna charge for the services you're offering, right? It needs to be, um, it needs to be worth your while, and you need to value yourself and your services. You don't wanna underprice. So, I think you need to understand what's the going rate in your market and match and price yourself competitively. So Matt says most companies compete on price, which means that we are chasing each other to the bottom of the barrel. The price is the price, right? So yeah, value your service, value your price, and communicate the value of your service. Salesmanship is what we need to work on, not meeting or beating price. So, what's the best way to go about researching my competition? So, I think use the resources that are available to you. This is something that, like, if in terms of like a market research, you would have to pay for, but now you have ChatGPT. So, use that as a resource to you. You can figure out what the going rate in your area is. Um, and then I think too, when you're working with prospects and you're discussing price and you're hearing that the price is too high, this is what I paid, you can kind of get information from people in that way of what they're paying and what the going rate is in your area. You can call around too. You can call around and ask. That's another strategy. Do you have a specific prompt for ChatGPT? I would ask, what is the going rate for commercial cleaning services in my area? Put your location in. Um, Maybe I would list the types of industries you're providing services to. So make it specific to the type of industry. So medical, office cleaning, or schools. You could even ask to learn more about, are people outsourcing these services in my area? Do people value in-house more? Like what's happening in my area? I think ChatGPT will have some good answers for you. Yeah, so Matt has a good point. Also ask your newly acquired customer why they chose you and what your pricing was compared to their competitors. You should not be cheapest, but in the middle. Yeah, so use your customers as a resource as well. Of course. Wayne, can you elaborate? I'm not understanding your question. All right, last call on questions before we end this presentation. Is there a playlist? Got it. Yeah, so I believe there's a playlist. Let me just double check so I'm not misspeaking. I believe we have a playlist on pricing or bidding is probably what it's called. Yeah, so prospecting and bidding is a playlist on our channel, and We have a video on how to bid commercial cleaning jobs, how to bid medical, how to bid schools, and then construction cleaning as well. And then there's a lot of lives and other videos with Matt on prospecting, how to close deals, how to negotiate, how to present your proposal, what your proposal should include. I also want to share too that in our membership on OctoCleanMedia.com, we do have a price guide calculator that has all of our formulas and breaks down window cleaning as well. We just added post-construction to that. It breaks it down by industry. We discuss production rates. So there's a lot more resources there for you to use. And we also have a sales toolkit that comes with a templated agreement quote. It also comes with our training cards and service agreement templates that you can customize with your own logo and make adjustments to. So you have everything that you need to present a proposal to a customer. So I see here, I think I'm about 30% higher than the other companies I quote with, but I am not sure they have liability, et cetera. So that's a good point. You're doing things right by having liability insurance, setting up your business properly. So you need to value that and use that as a way to present the value that you offer. So and then Matt says 30% is too much, 15 to 20% higher is good. So you want to strive to being 15 to 20% higher than your competition. So as a member, we can review your pricing and your bids with you. This is where that extra time that you can book comes in handy. You could actually book time with Matt and go over your bidding. An hour session, I think here would be good, going over just like your bidding in general. Or if you have like a specific bid that you want to review with Matt, you could book a 30-minute session. You also have access to our group discussions, which is open to everyone within the membership. So that means that you can put your bidding questions into that section and anyone can answer. We have a lot of really great people in the membership currently who've been operating their businesses for some time now and have a lot of advice to offer, as well as, so you're getting advice and guidance from more than just us, but other people who've been doing it, who are in the same stages as you and learning as you are too. So highly recommend joining and using it as a resource. All right, so we're hitting that 30-minute mark. Okay, let me see. I got a couple more comments in. Okay, great. I just want to make sure I am calculating correctly. I'm not big on lowering my price, but I am open to adjusting if it is too high. Okay, awesome. Okay, in closing, remember that sales is a numbers game. Not every deal will close, and that's okay. But when you stay confident, stand by your price, and focus on value, you'll win the right deals and keep them profitable. I want to thank everyone for joining today. And be sure to subscribe to our channel if you're not already for more training. We're posting more how-to videos. So more of that how-to content is coming. And we hope to see you inside the OctoClean Media private community, which you can learn more about at OctoCleanMedia.com or by going into the description of this video. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining.